Hello and welcome to the library. My name is Serdd and I am your host and narrator. And this right here beside me is baby Yui, who is actually in the room tonight. That is because Yui is not yet fixed, and his little sister, who is also not fixed, obviously, has gone into heat. So, our house is an absolute nut show, and no one is getting any sleep. And yet, but except for finally, Yui has started eating again, and he is playing again, and so we were able to tire him out again. So, thank heavens for small mercies. You will inevitably, throughout this episode, and probably on Wednesday's episode as well, you will inevitably hear him whining, crying, maybe barking. You may hear some whining and crying and barking from downstairs as well. Just know that everyone's okay. They just really want to see each other. No. So today I am so looking forward to this. This story, I have to admit, when I first read the premise, the summary, I was a little kind of like on the fence about it, because I thought that the summary gave a lot away of the actual story. And so, like, it didn't leave a lot to the imagination, or there wasn't a lot of suspense as to what's happening or what it entailed, because it tells you 3 times from the title. Married thrice to salted fish. So married 3 times, we know that. And then it says right in the summary that the Lin Qingyu, the main character, is married 3 times to 3 different people, but it is the same person who just transmigrates. So that's right in the summary. So it doesn't... So straight off the bat, like our follower, fictive ghost... Oh no, that's Discord. As Ghosty, said at the very beginning, you know, we're Ghost Wanderer, thank you. We're prepared for pain. We know that it's coming. So, but I was not. I so badly. I want fan art, peoples. I want fan art, especially of that scene where Lin Qingyu is kneeling in the snow beside Lu Wancheng's wheelchair and they're both in their wedding clothes. And it's Lu Wancheng's last request of Lin Qingyu was to see him in his wedding clothes. But the sickness takes his sight, so he's blind. Oh my god. I was ugly crying. Like, that was intense. That was so sad. I hope my mic and everything, I hope you can pick this up. It's a very precarious getting it so that the camera can pick up my mouth movements and everything, and then the microphone can pick up my voice and everything. So I hope that's all okay. It doesn't look very loud, but As long as I'm not peeking, I'm okay. There isn't a whole lot that I really have to say. I'm just so looking forward to getting in and getting started on this. You may notice that I had if you're looking through the videos, I had the gaming... What? Sorry. You may notice that I had a game that I had played. We are slowly but surely getting that started. I do have a few games that I want to play, but really my thing was that I absolutely wanted to have it set up so that when the new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet drop, I can play those on here and we can do it all together. So that's what I'm... Oh, sorry. I keep having to listen because I'm the only one home, so I have to... Yui's in here with me, and then the other one's got the house to herself, so... But she and the cat and everything, they're out the door. We're in here. It's the room. I think she's... Just a sec. Is that her, or is that you? I don't know. I'm gonna do my best to not let it bother me. Yeah, so is there anything else? I don't think so. Excuse me. So we will be playing some games on here. There's a few that I really want to play, others that I think are more popular. Ones that I want to play are not traditionally what a lot of people want to watch. That being said, I do have some favorites that I think will be fun. I just have to get some sleep, right, Yui? So that you're not waking me up every hour. Right, every hour, almost on the hour. You were very punctual, waking me up for the last 3 nights. Yeah, so if you go and watch, sorry. If you go and watch that game footage, you can tell I am just not in it. That was my first break in a while, so I had to apologize as I was not together. So let's get started on this because I'm so looking forward to this. Today we will be going, hopefully, let me not jinx myself, but from chapters 48 to I think 52. Let's count. Ready? 48, 49, 50, 51. That's right. And then we're stopping at 52. So yes, that's right. Jesus, how did you get here? Hi, baby. Oh, you're a good boy. Yeah, you're a good boy. You're tired. You're tired, baby? Let me take it. Oh, take it, baby. Oh. Go lay down. You're so tired. You play lots. You play lots. Go lay down, baby. Where's you your teaspoon? Oh, look at yours. Oh, dear. Oh, you're falling asleep sitting up today. Okay, you're gonna fall asleep sitting up again. You're gonna fall over. You're so beautiful. Go lay down. Okay. Alright. New plan. I'm going to power through these and then get a good night's sleep. Yes. That's a lie. I will probably... Oh, that was one of the things I wanted to mention. In the last day or so, or 2 days from now ago, I guess. I'm not sure what the time difference is. But we lost someone in the voice acting industry who I was a huge fan of. Unfortunately, never got to meet him in person. But it feels like it was very sudden. I wasn't even aware that he was not well. And so it's very, very sad. And you probably won't know his name. He's not, to my mind, I can't ever actually remember him on the convention circuit. but you will absolutely 100% know his characters. And I can guarantee you are a fan of all, if not just most of his characters. I can remember one of his most recent roles. He played the villain, and the monologue that he gave as this villain was so excruciatingly poignant and incredibly poetic and brilliantly acted that it literally brought me to tears. I sat and rewound it like at least 2 or 3 times to rewatch the entire thing again. It's an emotionally charged scene, and I think any other voice actor, would have hammed it up too much, not given it the seriousness that it deserved, and he delivered it so flipping beautifully that to this day it is one of my absolute most favorite anime moments. And this is it's Billy Kametz. Is it Kametz with a Z? Kametz, I hope that's how you say it, Billy Kametz. You would know him from one of my favorites, because I think he's so funny and he does it so well, is from why does my mind keep blanking? You would know him from Shield Hero. The one that I'm rewatching right now because he is so incredibly good in it is what is it, Irma of Demon School, or I can't remember the name. That's the one I'm rewatching. But it was his role in Demon Slayer. Oh, he was just absolutely incredible. And it really shocked me to hear that he had passed away so suddenly. And at a very crazy young age. I'm 33 and he passed at 35, and that's stupid. Like there's no other response to that. That's just stupid. That's the universe being an asshole. Because it was way too soon. Please, if you get the chance, do yourself a favor and go ahead and visit Behind the Voice Actor Studio. That's where I get all my info, and it gives the most up-to-date info, to my knowledge. So it's Google it. But Behind the Voice Actor Studio, and it's Billy Kametz. So Billy, and then Kametz, and search him up, and you will be shocked over and over and over again. By the sheer talent of this man. And it was hugely saddening to hear of his passing, and I'm still really upset about it. He was one of the people that I dearly wish to meet because he was so flipping talented. He was one of those rare voice actors that you didn't recognize it was him. You know how some voice actors, all my faves included, is that usually as soon as you hear, you go, oh yeah, I know who that is. Oh yeah, I can pick that out. Oh yeah, that's so and so. But his was one where he was just a chameleon. And those are in my opinion, the absolute best types of actors. Those chameleons, where you're going, who is that? Who is that? No way. Is that really them? Did they really do all that? So yeah, do yourself a favor and look up Billy Kametz, and you're welcome. But yeah, so that was sadness. We were upset. Go lie down. You're exhausted. So yeah, it was a slightly darker note than I really wanted to take, but I did want to put that out there, that if you're looking for a good anime, anything that he is in, do yourself that favor. Yeah, that makes me sad. Okay, I still wish that I had gotten the chance to meet him. Oh, there's a big bumble outside my window. Alrighty. Let's get into this. Oh, that's nice. Usually my average is talking for around 20 to 22 minutes. And we're getting in under that time, so that's excellent. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the dramatic music for now. It's more neutral than it is dramatic, but I will take it because I think it fits quite well. Once again, please ignore the whining puppy in the background. It's just gonna keep happening. And I'm yawning. There we go. He's gone behind my chair and is looking at me over my shoulder. Just staring me down. Go lie down. Go sleep. Go to bed. Fuck, he's so cute. He's doing that head tilt thing. Like, what are you doing? What are you saying, Mom? Holy crap. What? Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Holy crap, that's a raid. Oh my god. What? The goodness. Holy crap. I haven't even started yet. Thank you. Oh, I'm not gonna pronounce this right. Hello, everyone. Is it Jazil? I'm pronouncing it the Chinese way. Zel's cool. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the follow. Hello, everyone. My name is Serdd, and this here is Yui, and I read Danmei and BL fiction and all that fun stuff, and I haven't even started yet. Thank you so much for following. Oh my goodness. This raid is crazy. Hello. I am panicking. Yes. I was just talking about voice acting stuff and what's happening in the world of voice acting, and then I was gonna start reading, and I don't know what to do first. I'm gonna okay, show of hands. Should I just start reading? I guess I'm gonna do that. The irony is, I said that I would start before. Thank you so much for the follow. No panics. I was impressed with your YouTube. Oh, thank you very much. I usually chat too long, so this is very cool. Okay, I'm gonna get started. I'm panicking. We're on chapter 48, but we're still fairly just getting into the story, and it follows Lin Qingyu, who is a doctor, who is also married as a male wife, and then his husband died, but his husband's a transmigrator, so now that transmigrator husband is now in another body, and we know that, but he doesn't know that yet, but he's looking for a sign, and the sign's been plastered all over the empire, and so he's trying to figure out where the sign came from, but he still says he's not gay, but they're married and in love. So that's, I'm just gonna start. Thank you so much for everyone for being here. Chapter 48. Guangu Fuzhou returned to Beijing immediately. Shh. Oh, by the way, I have two dogs in the house. One of them is in heat, isn't in the house, and the other one, the male, is in with me. This is my baby Yui. He's actually in the room with us, and so you'll hear some barking, whining, and crying. That's just him wanting to get it, and he can't. Lin Qingyu asked Xiao Shongzi to help him keep an eye on the situation in Jingcheng Hall. But Xiao Shongzi was only a eunuch charged with delivering meals. He was only ever in Jingcheng Hall for a short time every day, and the information he could get was limited. Lin Qingyu pieced together these scattered clues. The only thing that was certain was that the message of, if odd, change, if even, remain the same, which is the code that came from his now past husband, came from either Xie Xia or Yang Liang, and that Xiao Cheng summoned the Imperial Academy scholars to Qinjiang Hall to decipher this code. The thought of going to Yang Liang to find that person did cross his mind, but when he thought about it calmly, it was obviously not a wise move. Not to mention that Yang Liang was a long way from the capital, taking at least a month to get there and back. Even if he did go, It would be like looking for a needle in a haystack without any clues to go by. It would be better to stay in the palace and find some clues. At this time, Lin Qingyu was in no hurry. It was good that that person was alive, no matter how difficult the situation was. But as long as they were alive, they would meet again. What's more, he has long understood that person's temperament. He may be lazy, but when it came to conspiracies and tricks, he was no match for him. He believed that that person would do everything possible to get back to him. He didn't have to go anywhere. He'll just wait for him where he was. He also didn't know how that person looked now. Old or young, male or female, beautiful or ugly. Jiang liked looking at beauties, and he once ranked in the most handsome men in the capital. Wancheng, the old husband, was already considered a rare handsome son of nobility, but it still wasn't as good as his original appearance. When Jiang had appeared in front of him on the 7th night after his death, he made it a point to emphasize this fact. It showed that he was very satisfied with his appearance. If he had transmigrated to have an ugly appearance this time, Jiang had probably gotten so angry that he vomited blood. He might not even have the face to appear in front of him. If he became a woman, given his character, after a period of inner struggle and pain, he had probably calmly accepted it. Maybe he could even find a man to marry him who would let him just lie down, eat, and drink. Then, if that were the case, better to just marry him. Thinking of this, a long-absent smile reappeared on Lin Qingyu's face. His eyes were clear like water, and his cheeks were brighter than the blooming peonies. He Ji, who'd been watching him, couldn't help but be entranced. He Ji couldn't help asking, "Imperial Physician Lin, why are you so happy?" The corners of Lin Qingyu's lips rose slightly. "It's been 100 days since my husband's passing. Is this not worth being happy about?" This... He Ji quickly retracted his gaze, not daring to look at him again. What was that? Don't. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Please don't go anywhere. I need to pause this. Because he's going nuts. One moment. Please stay with me. One moment. Hi, sorry. Thank you for that. There was no emergency. The idiot dog downstairs dropped her bone on the tile floor, spooked herself, and then ran to hide under the table. That was a big run up the stairs. And carrying dogs as we go. He Ji quickly retracted his gaze, not daring to look at him again. Although beautiful people were beautiful, ordinary people would never have the fortune to have them. He himself was certain he never would have this blessing, and so he didn't even dare to entertain any delusions. Still trying to catch my breath. As the two were talking, an eccentric-sounding voice came from behind them. "Is engaging in idle chatter part of your duties?" The speaker was naturally none other than Chu Jiangdi. Since the last time when Lin Qingyu was called to Fengyi Palace, Chu Jiangdi found him more and more offensive to look at. This treatment extended even to He Ji, who was close to him. The Imperial Hospital was a place where they placed great importance on seniority. They were subordinate officials, and naturally they couldn't blatantly disobey Chu Jiangdi. He Ji closed his mouth, feeling embarrassed. Lin Qingyu was in a good mood, and didn't feel like bothering to argue with the old fool. Not long after, a eunuch from the Eastern Palace came to the Imperial Hospital, saying that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, who's an asshole, was feeling unwell. Go die. Lin Qingyu was being summoned to the Eastern Palace to provide diagnosis and treatment. The first time, he could bear with it. The second time, he was driven to the edge of his forbearance. Chu Jiangdi said angrily, "It has always been I who has looked after the health of the Master of the Eastern Palace. If not I, then He Ji. Lin Qingyu is of little talent and shallow learning. How could His Highness request him for diagnosis and treatment?" Both the Empress and the Crown Prince have bypassed him, looking for Lin Qingyu instead. This was nothing short of a slap to the face. Lin Qingyu said indifferently, "It seems that Imperial Physician Chu wishes to be the one to go and give the diagnosis and treatment to the Crown Prince. If Imperial Physician Chu wants this blessing, then by all means." The Eastern Palace's eunuch said coldly, "Who among us could possibly guess His Highness's intentions? We simply need to obey his orders. Could it be that you intend to disobey and disrespect His Highness?" Chu Jiangdi stomped his foot. "It just doesn't make sense." He Ji knew vaguely that what the Crown Prince's thoughts were of Lin Qingyu. He said worriedly, "Imperial Physician Lin, you must be careful." "It's all right." Lin Qingyu put a porcelain bottle into his sleeve. "The Crown Prince is wary of General Gu, so he shouldn't do anything to me." He and Gu Fuzhou have never met, and Gu Fuzhou recognized his father as his adoptive father only because of his life-saving grace. Gu Fuzhou was far away in Yongliang, but he was able to shelter him under his illustrious military achievements, making it so that Zhao Qiang couldn't lay his hands on him for the time being. Even if it was unintentional on Gu Fuzhou's part, he deserved to be thanked in person. Just in case, Lin Qingyu said again, "Won't you go to the Chenglei Palace and ask concubine Chen to let you diagnose her pulse?" It's worth a shot. Just for some background, the last time Lin Qingyu went to see the Crown Prince tried to assault him. And it was a close thing. It was not a good scene. Oh wait, did that happen? I think so. Could be wrong. I think so. Could be reading ahead. Always bad. I should shut up. Arriving at the Eastern Palace, Lin Qingyu followed the eunuch to the side hall where the crown prince was resting. Imperial Physician Lin, please. Lin Qingyu walked into the hall. Inside, it was like a fierce gale had passed through. Atop the mess as... Oh no. Oh's nose. Everyone's guard your loins. Atop the mess was a wine case filled with empty jugs. Xiao Cheng was laying on his side behind the wine case. He had his neck tilted, pouring wine into his mouth. He looked both greasy and desolate. Lin Qingyu knelt down and saluted according to customary etiquette. Your Highness. Xiao Cheng threw away the jug and staggered to his feet. He looked down at him from above. You're here. You have the nerve to keep Gu waiting. Gu is like the Chinese version of the royal we. This humble official would not dare. What would you not dare? Gu can clearly see that you have a lot of nerve. Xiao Cheng looked at him for a good long while, his eyes gradually becoming confused. He raised his hand, wanting to touch his face. Your eyes. You were born with very good eyes. Lin Qingyu felt nausea in his stomach. He tilted his head to avoid Xiao Cheng's hand. It was as though Xiao Cheng had been dealt a heavy blow. It seemed that he could now see clearly that the person in front of him wasn't the one in his heart. Xiao Cheng would never look at Gu with this kind of eyes. Xiao Cheng's mouth curved into a cruel arc. If you were blind, I wonder if you would be more like Jiang Chun, eyes filled only with innocence. Lin Qingyu looked at him quietly, but in his heart he was thinking up countless ways to humiliate the other. Xiao Cheng gave him inspiration. Blinding him was one way, or he could simply take out his eyeballs. That seemed quite interesting as well. Let me just see if I have some better music. I've got sad, I've got dramatic, which is this, romantic, and neutral. Okay, we're sticking with this dramatic. This is all I got. I don't think any of these songs quite work. Bear with me. Oh, these are all awful. Okay, fuck it. Forget it. Sorry. Yeah. Your Highness has drunk too much, Lin Qingyu said. This humble official will give you a prescription for sobering up. Xiao Cheng roared, Look at Gu! If there is nothing else, this humble official will be taking his leave. Xiao Cheng suddenly grabbed his arm, his eyes widening in anger. He said fiercely, I am the Crown Prince! If Gu wants you, what can you do? Yes, you are the Gu Fuzhou's adoptive brother. But would Gu Fuzhou dare embarrass me over an adoptive brother he barely recognizes? Lin Qingyu's eyes darkened, and he, unexpectedly, laughed out loud. Then try it. He might not be able to escape this disaster, but Xiao Cheng won't be leaving the Eastern Palace alive either. It was a pity that he was going to die with this dog thing. He suddenly remembered what Jiang had said on their wedding night. Lin Qingyu, the beautiful imperial doctor who died in the Eastern Palace? I see. So this was to be his end. Xiao Cheng's eyes were locked on his face. He still hadn't let go, but made no further moves. Just then, a figure walked in. It was Shen Huixi. Unless their master was in trouble, a shadow guard wouldn't just show up. Xiao Cheng narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "What are you doing here?" Shen Huixi knelt on the ground with a thud and slammed his head down. "I beg your highness, please let Imperial Physician Lin go." Xiao Cheng observed the expressions of the two of them. He suddenly let out a strange laugh. "Say that again," Shen Huixi said. "Your Highness has simply lost control from drinking. If he were sober, he would definitely not be like this." "You're begging for him! You're actually begging for him!" Xiao Cheng's laughter grew louder and louder, not knowing which of them he was jealous of. "Finally, I understand why little Qingyu was kind enough to apply medicine for you." Shen Huixi's voice trembled. "This subordinate knows that today is Princess Jing Chun's birthday, and His Highness becomes like this every year at this time." "Shut up!" Xiao Cheng looked grim. "Since you're protecting him like this, why don't you take his place instead?" After saying so, he pulled Shen Huixi up and stretched his hand from Shen Huixi's chest. Shen Huixi's eyes widened. "Your Highness? Why? You're so shy. And here I thought I was feeding you enough. So you go and fool around with other men under my nose." Shen Huixi shook his head helplessly. "The subordinate has not." Lin Qingyu tightly clutched the medicine bottle in his sleeve, forcing himself to calmly think about countermeasures in the situation. Shen Huixi was skilled in martial arts, and he had the medicine in his hand. If Shen Huixi was willing to cooperate, they might be able to... At this time, a voice came from outside. "The Imperial concubine is coming." Xiao Cheng paused and asked sharply, "Why has my concubine mother suddenly come?" "The Imperial concubine heard His Highness was ill, and she went to the Imperial Hospital to ask for an Imperial doctor. She came specifically to visit His Highness." "Why would my concubine mother make such a big fuss over nothing?" Xiao Cheng looked at Lin Qingyu, an ominous glint concealed in his eyes. "Unless someone has been telling tall tales in front of her." Lin Qingyu stuffed the medicine bottle back into his sleeve and said calmly, "This humble official does not know." His drunkenness had subsided, and Xiao Cheng regained some clear-headedness. He looked at Shen Huixi, who was lying on the ground. A strange look flashed in his eyes. "Put your clothes on and order someone to make a cup of sobering soup." Shen Huixi crawled up from the ground, holding together the lapels of his robes. Head lowered, he said, "Yes." Lin Qingyu walked out of the Eastern Palace unscathed. In a deserted corner, he took a deep breath. He couldn't help thinking, if Gu Fuzhou hadn't recognized his father as his adoptive father, and he hadn't gotten to know Shen Huixi, would he have been so lucky today? Music back on. Without Gu Fuzhou, Xiao Cheng wouldn't have had the moments of hesitation. Had he not deliberately approached Shen Huishi, not only would he have not interceded for him, but he would have shown up when he attacked Xiao Cheng and plunged that blade into his neck. He might have died in the Eastern Palace, under the Shen Hui's sword, in the dark, it was as if there were these pair of hands pulling him from destiny's outcome. Lin Qingyu looked up at the sky towards the northwest. He said softly, "Is it you?" Even if they were separated from each other, unable to see one another, that person was still protecting him in his own way. For the first time in his new lease on life, Lin Qingyu suddenly lost strength, and with the palace wall against his back, slowly crouched to the ground. "When are you coming back?" Baby's in love. It was night. Shengjiang Hall was brightly lit. The cabinet ministers were all gathered around a newly arrived urgent missive from the northwest. All of them had solemn expressions on their faces. Xiao Cheng tapped the table with his fingertips. He felt restless, and the front of his head was aching from too much drink. Not long after, Xu Qingdi walked in with Xiao Shengzi leading the way. "Your Highness." Xiao Cheng wasted no time on nonsense. "Let me ask you, do you know of a poison called sky spider?" "Your Highness, this is a strange potion from the north, poison from the north. If the poisoned person does not receive an antidote, his internal organs will be attacked by the poison, slowly causing organ failure until death." "Then is there an antidote for the sky spider?" "Yes, but the antidote is extremely complicated." Xu Zhengdi told everything he knew. "We would need to use the 1,000-year-old snow lotus from the north as a supplement. It should be ground into powder using a warm jade mortar, exclusively found in the Imperial Medical Office's 1,000-herb hall. The medicine should be given immediately after it is prepared. Only by taking this medicine can the poisoned person be detoxified." Xiao Cheng said, "You mean to say this poison can only be detoxified in the Imperial Medical Office?" Thank you so much for the follow! Where's your reddish flower? Thank you so much for the follow, reddish flower! Yay! Hello! Exactly. Yay! Alright, you may withdraw. After Chu Jingdi withdrew, Xiao Cheng said solemnly, "Don't you think it's strange that someone in Yongliang would be poisoned by the Central North?" The Prime Minister said, "Your Highness, the Sanji camp has already confirmed the poisoning to be true. No matter how he was poisoned, our top priority should be to get rid of the poison first." Xiao Cheng's face was ugly. He was completely unwilling, but he had no choice but to compromise. Gritting his teeth, he said, "Deliver Gu's decree. Allow Gu Fuzhou to return to the capital immediately." Woo! Yay! This is good. This is good. This is good. The husband's coming back. Hello, everyone who's watching. Thank you so much for the follow. New peoples, and it is so exciting. Lurk. Hi, Atkinson. I love the lurking. I can 100% understand and get the lurking. I am the worst. I do it all the time. When someone's reading, it's just nice to have it on the background. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Chapter 49. Yay. Okay, I'm too excited. I like to wait. You have a great voice, really good audio quality. Yay! Thank you so much. That's very important to me too, is having my good audio quality. You do not know how many times I have done full streams without the mic on. Has happened. Have done it too many times. You'd think once and then you never do it again. No, I do it multiple times. But yeah, if at any time you have any questions as to what something means or who someone is, I am more than happy to answer that. Because I know coming in on chapter 49 can be jarring. But it's all good things. All funniness. From now, well, I shouldn't say now on, because we do know that this guy dies at some point, but he's all funniness. We're very excited. I've raged over such things myself. Oh, honestly, I thought I was the only one goofy enough to do that. Yeah, you would think, though, you do it once, it's like, okay, from now on, have to check, make sure the mic is on. No. Done it multiple times. Or how many times that I've not had it on the right page? I've had it on my just chatting and started reading. That has happened. Yes. But it's good. We're all figuring out, we're figuring out the bugs as we go. I'm more likely now to check and make sure the mic is on. More likely. I won't say it always happens. Oh, I should hydrate because I forget all the time. Oh, sorry. Papa Mom will be proud of me. I'm actually drinking water today. This doesn't usually happen. Okay. Chapter 49. I like to wait. Couldn't help it. The news that Gufu Zhou was about to return to the capital was passed from Xiao Shengzi's mouth to Lin Qingyu's ears. Lin Qingyu and Xiao Qiang both had the same doubts. They both thought there were too many strange things about this matter. From the conversations of several people, it wasn't difficult to figure out that Gufu Zhou was allowed to return to the capital because of the sky spider poisoning. Now that the emperor was ill and delirious, whether Gufu Zhou could return to the capital depended on what Xiao Qiang thought. Who's still an asshole. Okay. For the past few months, Gufu Zhou has been sending letters requesting to return to the capital, all of which were ignored by the emperor. By this time, the situation was completely different. Gufu Zhou was the heart of the army. No matter how much the imperial court was afraid of the military power he wielded, he must not be allowed to be poisoned to death at this critical juncture. If they did not allow Gufu Zhou to return to the capital when they clearly had a way to detoxify him, simply letting the poison run rampant and kill him, Gufu Zhou's army of 300,000 men would lose confidence in the court. It wasn't an inconceivable possibility that they might even defect. But why was it the sky spider poison? If, like last time, this was the Xiaxia's doing... That was weird. Xiaxia's doing. Why did the Xiaxia use slow-acting poison from the central north? Why not use a highly toxic poison instead? Was it, in the vernacular of Jiang's hometown... By the way, Jiang is our time traveler. I have returned her choice. Hello, Samara! Hello, Samara! Lovely to have you! We missed you. I hope you enjoy the stream as you do your homework. Jiang is our person from now. So he's our transmigrator from this current time into this. Yes, okay. Was it in the vernacular of Jiang's hometown? For that kind of money, wouldn't a pork cutlet be more appetizing? Missed you! Missed you too! what he could think of, Xiao Qiang could definitely work out as well. However, matters having reached this point, in order to take care of the overall situation, even though Xiao Qiang knew there was an ulterior motive to all of it, he had to issue the order to allow Gu Fuzhou to return to the capital. In any case, Gu Fuzhou's return wasn't a bad thing for Lin Qingyu. When Gu Fuzhou comes back, his father would definitely accompany him. It has been half a year since his father left, and now their family of 4 could finally be reunited. Oh, I'm so freaking looking forward to this. I'm so looking forward to this. Expect comedy. I don't even have comedy music. God damn it. I need comedy music. So looking forward to this. Screw it. Where's my neutral music? Maybe that's happier. Where is it? Is it this one? I don't think it's much happier, but I'm going with it. Oh, I'm so excited. Gu Fuzhou's return to the capital this time was not a return in triumph. Rather, he was coming back to get detoxified. In order to stabilize the situation, the imperial court decided to keep it secret. They conducted Gu Fuzhou's return to the capital covertly. Except for the important ministers in the cabinet, only the imperial hospital knew about it. Yeah. Sorry. It would take 10 days for the message to reach Yongliang, 800 li away. Adding in Gu Fuzhou's journey to the capital, it would take about half a month still for Gu Fuzhou to arrive. During this half month, the Imperial Hospital had to prepare the antidote for the sky spider poison. Time jump, because I'm not waiting for that. Since Lin Qingyu returned from the Eastern Palace that day, he developed a sudden high fever. Oh no, baby, what's wrong? He used all his willpower to prescribe a prescription for himself. He had Hua Lu make the medicine according to the prescription and ordered Huan Tong to go to the Imperial Medical Office to apply for leave on his behalf. He then fell asleep. The illness came down heavy. This is the wrong music for this. I'm just gonna... yeah. The illness came down heavy like a mountain. Lin Qingyu slept, all the while feeling dizzy. He couldn't tell whether it was even day or night. In a daze, he heard someone calling his voice. Oh, he heard someone calling his name. Qingyu. Qingyu. The tone was leisurely. It carried a smile. Oh, sorry. Oh. It was pleasing to his ears. Lin Qingyu wanted to respond to him, but he couldn't even open his eyes. It felt like a heavy stone was pressing down on his body. It took enormous effort to even move his fingers. His throat was parched, and he was unable to make a sound. Strangely, even with his eyes closed, he could still see a vague figure. Then the voice calling, Qingyu, suddenly changed its tone, becoming the voice of another man. Imperial Physician Lin. Lin Qingyu finally forced himself to open his eyes. He saw the person standing beside his bed and said, voice hoarse, Imperial Guard Shen? It's me. Shen Huixi handed him a cup of soup. Are you all right? You look very bad. The herbal tea went down his throat, and Lin Qingyu gradually came to full wakefulness. Dreams at night are made of thoughts from the day. He was dreaming. Lin Qingyu probed his forehead with the back of his hand. His high fever had gone down, becoming onto a low-grade one. He had regained some strength. Why did you appear in my house? I heard from the Imperial Hospital that you were on leave due to illness, Shen Huixi said hurriedly. I'm here to visit.
in the middle of the night, standing wordlessly by the patient's bed. Do all shadow guards visit patients like this?
Shen Huixi's mood turned low.
I can't let others find out that I'm here. This is the only course of action possible, unwise as it is.
With Shen Huixi's skills, he wouldn't be discovered even if he entered the palace at night, let alone a mere Lin residence. Lin Qingyu sneered.
It's certainly true that you can't be discovered by the Crown Prince. Otherwise, he might feel he hasn't been feeding you enough. So you force your way into my house for a good time.
By the way, if you weren't getting it, feeding is euphemism for papapa. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. So it's very insulting. Shen Huixi's face flushed with shame.
His Highness turns impulsive after drinking. I apologize to you on his behalf.
It was like Lin Qingyu had heard some shockingly funny joke. He laughed out loud.
Apologize on his behalf? Who are you? Why are you apologizing for him? Because you climbed into his bed?
The expression on Shen Huixi's face stiffened. I wasn't sure if that was clear, so yeah, I had a little clarification there. Sorry. Oh, you scared me. Yeah, really. If you hear, I don't know, is it picking up the sound? Oh no, the mic's not picking up that sound. Okay, good, never mind. His face stiffened.
Stop talking. Go away if you don't want to hear this.
Lin Qingyu's eyes showed a bit of coldness.
I have no interest in looking at people who hold themselves cheap.
Oh, he's straight up calling him a hoe. That was ho. I wouldn't say that to the guy who's like one of the best swordsmen and martial artists in the whole empire, you know. Maybe not a good choice. If Shen Huixi refuses to come to his senses and debases himself all the time, if he was dead set on Xiao Qiang, how was Shen Huixi going to do things for him? Really, Lin Qingyu? Really? All right. It had been a waste of his time to detoxify and heal Shen Huixi. Good for nothing. Shen Huixi was silent for a long time. He said softly,
Jing Chun, His Highness and I.
Okay. Just before we start this, there's some quick clarification. For this paragraph coming up, when I was doing the translationing bit for it, it switches from female to male. You'll see. I left that as is because I didn't get it. But according to another translator, it's some type of freaky foreshadowing. So, not a typo. Okay. Tragic backstory, go.
Cheng Chun, His Highness and I. The three of us have known each other since we were children. Zheng Chun had an innocent and artless temperament. She was unworldly, a knave. Although she is a maiden, she was always delicate. Jing Chun would cry whenever he felt wronged, and whenever he cried, His Highness would go coax him. I don't know how to coax people. I could only diligently practice martial arts at the Heavenly Prison Sect. I thought that way I could protect Jing Chun and His Highness forever. Later, Jing Chun was favored by the King of the North. He didn't want to be married off, so he cried and he begged His Highness to save him. But the imperial decree had been issued, and even His Highness could do nothing. This has always been a thorn in His Highness's heart. Ever since then, whenever His Highness encounters anything related to Jingchun, he would become violent and moody.
Shen Huishi looked up at Lin Qingyu's eyes.
Imperial Physician Lin, your eyes really look like Jingchun's. That's why His Highness lost control for a bit.
Lin Qingyu found the important point among the bunch of nonsense.
Heavenly Prison Sect. Don't the Imperial family's shadow guards come from the Tianji camp?
Shen Huishi hesitated for a moment, then said,
Tianji camp and the Heavenly Prison Sect are the claws and teeth of the Son of Heaven. Tianji camp is bathed in light, and the Heavenly Prison Sect is shrouded in darkness. The world only knows about Tianji camp. They are ignorant of Heavenly Prison Sect. The two are bright and dark, and they complement each other. 3 years ago, the Heavenly Prison Sect was destroyed, along with hundreds of people. I was the only one left alive.
What Shen Huishi said made it simple. What Shen Huishi said simply, but a lot of detail had been hidden. Lin Qingyu asked,
Who destroyed the Heavenly Prison Sect?
Shen Huishi shook his head, as if he didn't want to mention the matter anymore.
In short, it was His Highness who saved me. After that, I switched to the Tianji camp and continued to serve His Highness. I thought that there were no other survivors of the Heavenly Prison Sect except me. I didn't expect to see a jade plaque in of the Heavenly Prison Sect with you.
A light moved in Shen Huishi's eyes.
Fuzhou, Su Qing. I must go and see for myself.
Lin Qingyu asked,
When are you going to leave?
Shen Huishi sighed.
General Gu is coming back to the capital. I can't leave for the time being. Why? General Gu is surrounded by people from the Tianji camp. From Yongliang to the capital, his every move, every word, and deed is under His Highness's control.
Lin Qingyu found it a little strange.
You telling me this? Aren't you afraid I would leak this information?
Shen Huishi smiled and said,
General Gu is a wise man. How could he not know that he's being watched by the Tianji camp? But this is the condition for him to return to the capital. If he wants to come back, he can only accept it. Listening to your tone, it seems you admire General Gu very much. I'm a man of the Deu. Is there any among us who doesn't admire the country's god of war? Although he has displayed some outrageous behavior recently.
Shen Huishi paused.
Someone's coming.
Lin Qingyu looked towards the door, but saw no one. When he turned back around, Shen Huishi had disappeared. After a while, Hua Lu pushed open the door and saw Lin Qingyu sitting up in bed. She said in surprise, "Young master, you're awake?" The window had opened at some point. The leaves rustled from the wind. It was as if no one had come. Lin Qingyu couldn't help but think, given this skill of Shen Huishi's, could Xiao Chang be able to beat him? Recovering from illness was like reeling off raw silk from a cocoon. It's hard and strenuous. Lin Qingyu's illness dragged on for half a month before he got better. He had lost a lot of weight, and he looked rather like a weak willow. A single look could... Isn't that cute?
A single look could arouse a man's protective instincts. With the idea of letting Lin Qingyu have a good rest, He Ji took the initiative to take care of everything whenever he was on duty with him. Music back up. Sure. Where am I? But Chu Jingdi couldn't bear seeing him being idle, so he sent him to the Imperial Medical Office to prepare the antidote for the sky spider poison. It was the middle of June. The heat was beating down on them, and the wind from the... I know! Isn't that crazy how good that works now? These are okay, I have my beacon mic and my mix create, and I will sing their praises forevermore. Because I told them the problems that I was having. They're like, oh, it's not supposed to, work the way you were asking it to work. I was like, oh, that's how I want to use it. Like, okay, let us work on this. And then within a month, it was fixed. Craziness. Absolute craziness. I love it. I can have my different playlists. Sorry, I'm just applying some Vaseline here. Give me a moment. I can have my different playlists, and they're all smooth as silk, and they be working, and I love it. I just gotta get some more songs. Okay. Oh, and hydrate. Right, I don't know. I think I might want to try to become an affiliate just so I can have a hydrate button. Let's go! Let's go! Okay. Let's go. Okay, it's June. It's June now. That was pedantic. Sorry. It was dusk when Gu Fuzhou quietly entered the capital. The reason why the sky spider poison had to be detoxified at the capital was because of its medical supplement. Serdd, can't maybe again. Yes! I'm gonna put the dramatic music back on. Like that. I just feel like the dramatic works better. It's better. Is that a real hashtag? Can we spread that? Love, love, love. Did it work? Yay! There they go! I love it. So love equals lanterns. Because 3,000 lanterns is the ultimate show of love. No, was it 3,000 or 3 million? It was 3,000, wasn't it? 3,000 lanterns. Okay, we're gonna keep going because the husband's back. Yay! Husband's back. If you didn't know, it's Gu Fuzhou. Okay. What is this? Are you sitting? What is this? SoftSpoKenn. Hello, SoftSpoKenn. Hi again. How you doing? Hello. Hi. Thank you for the raid. Oh, look at all the colors. Yay! This is crazy. Hi. This is crazy. I've got like 2 weeks with no people, and then 2 raids in 1 day is absolutely nuts. Hello, everyone. Hello. We're in the middle of. We are small but happy. Happy is important. We are coming into comedy scenes now. We are just about to re-meet the husband. You guys, like, honestly, you both missed all the sad parts. All the sad parts. Oh, fun. Where was I? Okay. The reason why the sky spider poison had to be detoxified at the capital was because of its medicinal supplement. The snow lotus from the north needed to be ground into powder using the warm jade mortar. After the medicine was prepared, it needed to be taken within an hour. Warm jade mortars were extremely rare, and there were only 3 in the entire Dayu.
One was located at the northern border, and the remaining 2 were in the 1,000 Herb Hall of the Imperial Medical Office. Imagine the reaction if you accidentally smashed one. That's my inner gremlin. Oh, so tempting. It's like, don't push the big red button. Don't smash only 3 of this thing. As soon as news of Gu Fuzhou's arrival in the capital reached the Imperial Medical Office became very busy. Everything was ready. Only the last ingredient was missing. The medicinal supplement. Go get your boy. I can't remember. I'm throwing out all the old men voices.
Where's the medical supplement? Get the medical supplement over here.
Imperial Physician Lin is in charge of the medical supplement. Go and find Imperial Physician Lin.
At this important moment, where did the Imperial Physician Lin go?
Everyone finally found Lin Qingyu in the library. When Lin Qingyu learned why they'd come, he frowned.
Isn't General Gu supposed to arrive tomorrow?
Who told you? General Gu returned to his mansion an hour ago. Lin Qingyu's eyes fell on the 6th grade medical officer who had specially come to inform him early that morning. The medical officer also seemed to feel guilty and didn't dare look at Lin Qingyu. Oh, he's someone's underling. Lin Qingyu had no time to deal with him for the time being. He said,
"Give me an hour. It'll be done right away."
The leading medical officer's eyes widened. Are you only just starting to prepare the medicine now?
If you keep talking nonsense, it will take longer.
Like a boss. After the medicine was completed, Lin Qingyu did not delay for even a second, and he personally delivered the antidote to the general's mansion.
Here we go! Here we go! Let's go!
The housekeeper of the general's mansion was waiting for the medicine. He was so worried his brows were beaded with sweat. Finally seeing Lin Qingyu arrive, he hurriedly took him to the inner courtyard.
General, the medicine is here.
Without permission, Lin Qingyu could only wait outside the door. A deep and low male voice, came from within. With undisguised mockery, he said,
"Oh, this is gonna hurt. They certainly got here early. Why don't they just come back next year? That way they can also cut down the 3-meter-high tree on my burial mound."
Lin Qingyu was taken aback. This is Gu Fuzhou? Their god of war? Go back to funny. Going back to funny. Yep. General Gu, an independent man of 30? This? Wait, do they work? Right? This? No, they hardly work. That's fine. It's fine. Oh, wait. I'm playing with stuff because I gotta get my crickets back. There you go. There's my crickets. Chu Jingdi's voice could then be heard.
General, begging for your forgiveness. It was this official's negligence in trusting this matter to a 7th grade newcomer. When this official returns to the office, I shall make sure that he is severely punished.
Fuck you.
General...
I can't do the deep voice. That's too much. We're going to a deeper version of Lu Wancheng's voice. Just, this is what we're doing.
General, let us get him in here first.
I don't really like it, but we'll work on it. Lin Qingyu's heart moved. Oh, never mind.
General, let us get him in here first.
Lin Qingyu's heart moved. This was his father's voice. His father's voice sounded a little tired. He mustn't have had much rest on the way to the capital. Lin Qingyu calmed down and walked in with the antidote. he saw his father and Chu Jingdi both standing in front of a wooden armchair. A tall and imposing man was sitting in it, dressed in the black military uniform of a general. He had dashing brows and bright eyes. His face, which could not be considered fair and clear at first glance, appeared grave and stern, with a bloodthirsty aura of a warrior. Anyone else imagining Nan'an? Or sorry, yeah, that's right, Nan'an. But when matched with his eyes, a greater part of his ferocity was washed away. Instead, he gave off the feeling of an undisciplined teenager. Sky spider poison was a slow-acting poison. Gu Fuzhou had yet to reach the point when the poison had entered his internal organs. Therefore, he looked much like an ordinary person. At this moment, he was holding up his teacup, having some refreshments. Father Lin has always been reserved, but he was unprepared to see his eldest son, who he hadn't seen for half a year. He couldn't hide his surprise and blurted out, "Qingyu?" Gu Fuzhou's hand suddenly froze and he looked up. Yes, so this Gu Fuzhou is like the major general of all of the armies and like some kind of war god, and he was poisoned by this sky spider poison. Not by our Lin Qingyu. I know Lin Qingyu has the poisons and he's our poison guy. But no, he wasn't. He has been poisoned, but Lin Qingyu is going to cure him. Yes. But yes, poisons all around. Yeah, I know. Here I am. I'm getting all excited. Oh, the husband's back. And then you're using poison and you're thinking, wife. And no, it was... Not this time. Not this time. Seriously, the lengths, though, that Gu Fuzhou went to get Lin Qingyu's attention, that he was still alive or that he had come back, has been amazing. Like, he worked his ass off to try and get Lin Qingyu's attention and to get a message out in any way possible. So... It's all been really sweet and really good in the background. It's good. It's so good. Where are we here? Gu Fuzhou's hand suddenly froze and he looked up. When the general's eyes met Lin Qingyu's, his eyes suddenly brightened as though dark clouds had been pushed aside to reveal the sun. Oh, baby's happy. There was now vigor in them. Immediately afterwards, the general seemed a little nervous again, and he hurriedly looked away. Because baby probably going to be pissed. Lin Qingyu smiled lightly at his father, then bowed to Gu Fuzhou, saying, "This official is named Lin Qingyu. Allow me to pay my respects to the general." Gu Fuzhou. Yes. For a long time, Gu Fuzhou did not speak. Afraid that he was blaming him for being late, Lin Qingyu added, "I have made the general wait for so long. Please forgive me." Gu Fuzhou didn't look at him. Finally, he was able to get something out. "It's all right." "It's all right," he said with a low chuckle. "I like waiting." Oh, so good. The guy. So the lengths that so Liu Wancheng transmigrated into General Gu, and right before he passed, this is just a quick summary, Liu Wancheng told Lin Qingyu, I'll look for me in 100 days. I'll be back within 100 days. I'll come to you. Just wait for me. And so it got to 70 days and after his passing, and Lin Qingyu is waiting for a sign. He's waiting. He's looking everywhere. And the sign that was agreed on was if odd change, if even stay the same, or something along those lines. It's the quadratic equation thingy. And the 100 days were coming up. And every single day, the emperor was receiving letters from General Gu saying, get me the hell out of here. I gotta go home. I gotta get back to the capital. Let me go home. Let me go home. And he was getting like 7 a day. He was just sending them all out. He even got his subordinates to write letters to the emperor of like, we're gonna mutiny. Like, I'll take over. Get this guy out of here. And they're all like, no, actually, he's winning his battles. I want to write this whole paragraph. Of what I want to say right now, but can't do it in chat, so I'll do it later in Discord. so Gu Fuzhou is losing his mind. Finally, the 100th day is coming up. And it's heartbreaking because Lin Qingyu is looking everywhere for signs. And he wakes up on the day and there's no sign. And he goes through his days like, okay, well, the day's not over until such and such hour. So 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. So it's not this hour. The day isn't over yet. And so he kind of gets lost in his work. And then that time comes. And he just kind of wilts. And he gets teary and upset. Like it's like it's official. Like, it was like he was holding on hope that his husband would come back, wasn't really dead. And so that's when the instant that he loses hope is when that 100th day is over with no sign. And just as he's walking out, he hears a little eunuch repeating the words, if odd, change, if even, stay the same, over and over in his sleep. And so first he thinks it's the eunuch, of course, but it turns out that General Gu, when he knew that he wasn't going to be allowed to come back for the 100th day to come back to his husband, he wrote it in a missive, told the emperor that this code is some form of, secret espionage message from the enemy, and I can't figure it out. So make sure that publish it. Make sure everyone in the capital can read this, and maybe they'll have an idea of what it was. Really, it was just a message to his husband to let him know I'm still alive. But it was like a Hail Mary toss. It was, so fucking good. So good. I know, it's so extra, and it's so good. So now Lin Qingyu has figured out that, this message, apparently, because he believes what everyone's saying, that this message came from the enemy camp. So he's thinking, I have to get to the enemy camp to try and find this person. And little does he know, he did too much. He did way too much. So yeah, he did way too much. So then, I don't know yet how he got poisoned with this sky spider poison or whatever it is. Because in my mind, he's crazy, and he could have very well have poisoned himself because he knew that the antidote could only be found at the capital and he had to get his ass home. So I don't know how this happened. That's my running theory. Because everyone's like, how did he get poisoned? That's such a weird poison, that to get a slow-acting one that isn't going to kill you and will give you plenty of time to get back to the capital where the only antidote is. And then his husband is the doctor. So I'm going, you know what I mean? Like, he could have thought this shit out. That's my working theory. We're gonna keep going. He's so dramatic. But I love these two so much. So much. Oh. There's been so much character growth. It's fantastic. Chapter 50. Please look at me seriously. Lin Qingyu was slightly startled. Just now, it wasn't what Gu Fuzhou had said. Lin Qingdi was also at a loss as to why the general's attitude changed so quickly. Father Lin was already used to General Gu's inconsistencies during his time in Yongliang. He had long since stopped seeing it as strange. Qingyu, serve the general his medicine. Lin Qingyu stepped forward, holding up... Oh, fuck. Please make him drink it. I love these two so much. Where's my music? Where's my music? Happy music. Where's that? That's a bit too happy. Yeah. That's better. Holding up the medicine bowl, he handed it to Gu Fuzhou.
General, please take this medicine.
The two were a little too close. Gu Fuzhou glanced at him quickly and then immediately turned his head away, his breathing becoming unsteady. Oh, you nervous. It seemed to Lin Qingyu that Gu Fuzhou was a little nervous. We was. He didn't know what there was to be nervous about drinking this antidote, so he asked,
"Is there anything the general finds improper?"
Gu Fuzhou muttered,
"You're too close."
Lin Qingyu heard him. He put the medicine bowl on the table and retreated.
That wasn't what I meant.
Forget it." Gu Fuzhou seemed ashamed of his behavior, but there was nothing he could do about it. So he picked up the medicine bowl and drank it clean. Chu Jingdi said,
"The antidote must be taken once a day, and any residual poison will be eliminated in 1 month. Every day, starting from tomorrow, the Imperial Medical Office will deliver the antidote to the General's mansion. I ask that the General take it on time."
In other words, Gu Fuzhou could only stay in the capital for 1 month. After his detoxification was finished, he would need to return to the northwest frontier. You bitches.
Then the question is, who will come to deliver the medicine to me every day?
Gu Fuzhou looked around and set his eyes on Lin Qingyu.
Imperial Physician Lin, can you be the one to do it?
Without waiting for Lin Qingyu's answer, Chu Jingdi said,
Imperial Physician Lin was late in delivering the medicine today. Were it to happen another time, would this not cause harm to the General's health?
Father Lin knew that his eldest son was not such a careless person. There must be a reason for the incident. He asked Lin Qingyu.
News of the General's arrival in the capital today was sent to the Imperial Medical Office early this morning. Why were you late?
Lin Qingyu said,
I was told that the General would arrive tomorrow.
Chu Jingdi furrowed his brows tightly.
By who?
Hong Chengfang. Gu Fuzhou quickly cast down his decision. Sorry, just a sec, I gotta hydrate. Uh-oh. Hey. Yui's sleeping here beside me and he's so blinking cute. I can't even, he's so cute. Gu Fuzhou quickly cast down his decision.
Then it's that Gu Changfeng's fault. What wrong has Imperial Physician Lin done? And even if he has, he is this General's adopted brother. I am more than willing to wait for him.
Father Lin was helpless.
Since the General has said so, Qingyu, from today on, it will be up to you to come to the General's mansion every day to deliver this medicine.
Oh, boy is smooth. Ooh. Oh, that's smooth. Lin Qingyu nodded in agreement. He didn't have the patience to run errands, but Gu Fuzhou had been kind to him, and he ought to return that kindness. It was getting late. It was time for most ordinary people to be going to bed. Father Lin said,
General, this official wishes to visit the Lin residence.
Gu Fuzhou smiled and said,
As it should be. I have I have made my adopted father work hard during this journey. Head home and reunite with your family.
Lin Qingyu withdrew together with his father. When he reached the door, Gu Fuzhou suddenly called him,
Jing, Imperial Physician Lin.
Lin Qingyu turned around.
Does the general have any other instructions?
Gu Fuzhou hesitated to speak. Finally, he glanced at Tianji camp guards beside him and said slowly,
It's nothing. I would just like to thank you for your hard work.
Lin Qingyu said politely,
It was this official's honor to be able to serve the general.
Gu Fuzhou said with a smile,
It was this general who was honored.
Lin Qingyu followed his father back home. Mother Lin had not received any news of her husband's return. Upon seeing her husband, she burst into tears. Father Lin and Mother Lin have been together for many years. They were a couple very much in love. At this moment, their silence surpassed even 1,000 words. "Father!" Lin Qingyi ran towards Father Lin and threw himself into his father's arms. Father Lin leaned down to catch his youngest son, and then he lifted them high up.
Qingyi has gained weight.
After a very long time, their family of 4 finally gathered together to eat. During the 6 months that Father Lin was away from the capital, too many things have happened. Wancheng died of illness, and Lin Qingyu separated from the Nan'an Hou's mansion, taking everything he could fucking grab. He then became a medical officer of the Imperial Hospital. In the future, father and son would be working in the Imperial Hospital together. They could be regarded as colleagues. Speaking of Wancheng, Father Lin couldn't help sighing.
In the end, young Master Hou was unable to survive past Weak Crown. It is a pity.
Lin Qingyu didn't feel... What are you doing? Oh, you want the towel? Here. I'll put it like this. There you go. Oh, you're welcome. He's got itchy face. He's burrowing under the towel. Goofball. Lin Qingyu didn't feel that it was a pity. Being able to be rid of that weak and sickly body was a good thing for that person. When Mother Lin took the sleepy Lin Qingyi to bed, Lin Qingyu asked,
Father, do you know of the phrase, if odd, change, if even, remain the same?
Father Lin nodded.
That phrase was widely circulated among the Jiangxi army. It is said that it came from a secret Xiaxia letter that General Gu intercepted. The general remained puzzled despite much pondering. He relayed this phrase to the crown prince, wishing that he would summon the masters to the capital to resolve his confusion. However, even now that we've been allowed to return to the capital, still no one has figured it out.
Lin Qingyu was lost in thought. So, was that person really in Xiexia? Having been reunited after a long parting, they shared some wine. Father Lin told him a few more things.
General Gu is a truly surprising person.
Lin Qingyu asked,
Why do you say this?
Father Lin smiled and shook his head.
You'll know after you spend a few more days with him.
Lin Qingyu also smiled.
I was already surprised when Father recognized General Gu as his adopted son. The general is an official of the highest rank serving our country, I am but a 5th rank Yan Pan from the Imperial Hospital. How could I possibly dare to be his adoptive father?
I know.
At first, I refused in every possible way. Later, the general said if I recognize him as my adopted son, the status of the Lin residents in the capital will be substantially different from before. It will be very beneficial to your career. It was only then that I felt relieved.
Lin Qingyu nodded and said,
The general truly has helped me a lot.
Water. Sorry, I'm wagging tail. He's a fluffy. You're too fluffy. He's a fluffy baby. The next day, Father Lin returned to the Imperial Hospital. The first thing he did was to find out all the details regarding the delayed delivery of the antidote. He asked Lin Qingyu and Hong Changfeng, there it is, Hong Changfeng, to confront each other. Hong Changfeng insisted that he was not wrong, but that Lin Qingyu had misunderstood. They only had each other's verbal statements to go by. There hadn't been a third person present at the time. Father Lin has always been fair in his dealings. Even if he believed in his eldest son, he would not make a decision without evidence. I'm sorry. Time out. He's looking at me through a mirror and whining at me. He wants out. Just one moment. I'm not going to go to the be right back screen. I'm just going to mute the mic. Be right back. Just a moment. He's so high maintenance. A moment. Okay, I'm back. Give me a sec. I can taste my heartbeat. That's a lot of running. I got my steps in. Ghost hasn't been back for a very long time. I don't know if they are even coming back. No, the Ghosty hasn't been here for quite a while. I'd say maybe about a month. Yeah, so they haven't been... They popped... Oh, I shouldn't say that. They popped in yesterday for when I was doing like a surprise... Really, I was just getting the gaming portion of this all set up so that I could do my Switch on here. They popped in for a few minutes and then I was so out of it, I'm not sure when they left. So yeah. Yeah, no, they haven't been back for a while. That's okay. Reading isn't for everyone. I gets it. Sam, you can never leave me.
You're here for life.
Oh, I wanted to ask. I would never leave. I wanted to ask, are you on Twitter? Because I wanted to tag you in something, but I wasn't sure if you were on Twitter. Don't put it on here if you're not comfortable, but you can put it on the Discord or DM me or something so I can follow you back if I don't already. Okay. Okay. Even if he believed in his eldest son, he would not make a decision without evidence. Fortunately, the general did not pursue the matter, and Father Lin punished the two with a small penalty, finding the two of them a month's salary. Oh, good, Huji. I can do Huji's. He Ji said,
Hong Changfeng must have been instigated by Chu Yanpan, who doesn't know that these two are blood-related master and apprentice.
I knew he was a lackey of someone.
Not necessarily. It hasn't been just a day or two since Chu Zhengdi has found me disagreeable. He is pedantic and stubborn, and it is clear that he is targeting me.
Lin Qingyu said.
It seems that he isn't the only one who dislikes me in the Imperial Hospital and the Imperial Medical Office.
He Ji sighed.
They say that a tall tree attracts the wind. You came up with the cure for the epidemic. You're the youngest doctor in the Imperial Hospital. You're related in some way to both the Empress and General Gu. What's more, your father is the head Yanpan of the Imperial Hospital. Naturally, you would attract people's jealousy. Regardless, they should learn to draw in their claws at normal times.
Unfortunately, I don't have Twitter. I only have Insta. I will re-find the tweet and I will post it and then tag you. We'll do that. That'll work. I'll find a way.
Lin Qingyu said coldly, I don't need for them to draw in their claws. I need for those idiots to provoke me less.
Yeah, because he's a boss. He smush you. After the evening meal, Lin Qingyu prepared the sky spider antidote at the Imperial Medical Office and delivered it to the General's mansion. The housekeeper of the General's mansion was named Yan Yin. That's going to trip me up. Gu Fuzhou was away from home most of the year. With no parents or wife, Yan Yin was usually left to take care of everything in the house. Yan Yin knew that Lin Qingyu would come to deliver medicine and was ordered to wait at the door early on. I don't feel like Yan Yin would be young. Anytime I see Yan, and especially Yin, I think high-pitched and girly. What kind of voice should I give this Yan Yin? They're the steward. They've been doing it for a long time. Do I have to do the old man voice again? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Bye. Sorry.
The General is enjoying the shade.
No, that's not it at all. More sophisticated. Think thinner.
The General is enjoying the shade in the backyard.
I don't really like it, but it's fine. No, that's not it at all. Someone help me with this voice. Yan Yin. Okay. I'm gonna go with like a slightly older version of Huan Tong, I guess.
The general is enjoying the shade in the backyard.
Too young.
The general is enjoying the shade in the backyard.
Close enough. Yan Yin said respectfully, I'll forget later, so it doesn't really matter.
Imperial Physician Lin, please come with me.
The summer heat was scorching, and the cicadas were chirping. The handsome, tall, and imposing man lay on the rocking chair. His eyes were closed, and he was rocking back and forth slowly. He was extremely tall of stature, and there was hardly any room to stretch out his long legs. He could only let them hang where they lay. 2 pages were positioned on either side of him, holding long fans and fanning the wind for him. Oh my god. Unbelievable. Gufu Zhou's lazy and insolent appearance seemed very familiar to Lin Qingyu. Behind him stood 2 imperial guards with swords by their waists. Their temperament did not resemble that of a military officer used to fighting and marching. Rather, their temperaments were similar to Xian Huixi's. If he guessed correctly, these should be the people from Tianjin camp. Xiao Cheng had ordered the people from Tianjin camp to follow Gufu Zhou. Normally, they were there to guard the general, but everyone knew what they were actually there for. Yan Yin stepped forward and said,
General, Imperial Physician Lin has come to deliver the medicine.
The rocking chair stopped, and Gufu Zhou stood up. Compared to last time, he no longer seemed so nervous. He walked to face Lin Qingyu, lowered his head, and said,
You're here.
I need to get the voice changer.
You're here.
Lin Qingyu was not short, but standing in front of Gufu Zhou, he unexpectedly seemed as petite as a woman. His chin didn't even reach Gufu Zhou's shoulder. Aw, size difference. The only thing that could be said was that Gufu Zhou was certainly worthy of being the fierce general known as the Daiyu's god of war.
General, it's time to drink your medicine.
Gufu Zhou drank the medicine, raised his head, and sighed.
The moonlight is so beautiful tonight. If Imperial Physician Lin has nothing else to do, why not accompany this general to drink some wine, eat some snacks, and admire the moon?
Lin Qingyu hesitated for a moment, then nodded.
Thank you for the invitation, General.
Gufu Zhou revealed a smile. When he wasn't smiling, his face appeared grave and stern. When he smiled, it seemed to fit his face, making him look a lot younger. Gufu Zhou ordered Yan Yin to serve them a late-night snack. Then Qingyu reminded him,
It would be better for the general to refrain from drinking alcohol.
I won't drink, but you should. Gufu Zhou poured a cup of wine for Lin Qingyu. He looked on with a smile as Lin Qingyu took a sip. His eyes seemed to fill with moonlight. Lin Qingyu frowned. I'm wondering if I should put the romantic music on. I feel like this is going to stay silly, so I'm going to leave it. Yeah. He had this nagging feeling that this situation seemed familiar.
Why is the general looking at me like that?
Gufu Zhou coughed lightly and said,
I heard that Imperial Physician Lin has just recently gone through the pain of bereavement. Now it seems that you are not particularly grieved.
Lin Qingyu said lightly,
He has already passed away. Those left behind should learn to look forward. You lying shit. You lie! You were grieving.
You're both freaking ridiculous.
It is only right that you should not grieve. Grieving harms the body.
Fuzhou paused and said,
Has Imperial Physician Lin ever heard the phrase, if odd, change, if even, remain the same?
As soon as he said these words, the two guards turned to look at them. Xiao Cheng hadn't made this matter public. Naturally, he couldn't show his cards.
I have never heard of it.
Fuzhou raised his eyebrows and said with a smile,
Is that so? That's interesting.
He glanced at the two guards and said vaguely,
Never mind. Now's not a good time.
Lin Qingyu asked,
What does the general mean?
Fuzhou changed the subject.
By the way, were you able to get down to the bottom of the late delivery yesterday?
Lin Qingyu briefly explained the matter. He thinks he says,
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Lin Qingyu briefly explained the matter. When Fuzhou learned that he had been fined a month's salary, he smiled and said,
Then you must remember this animosity and pay it back tenfold in the future.
The subtle feeling of familiarity grew stronger. Boy's not being subtle. He's not being subtle. He's a sledgehammer. This is what you call using a sledgehammer to hang a picture. Like, there's no subtlety here. Lin Qingyu stared at Fuzhou for a long time, then said simply,
I will.
After admiring the moon for about an hour, Lin Qingyu got up to say goodbye. Fuzhou rubbed his lower abdomen and sighed.
I'll get up, too, and move around a bit. I work up a sweat.
That sense of familiarity instantly disappeared. If it were that person, he definitely wouldn't move about in the middle of summer working up a sweat. Lin Qingyu said,
The residual poison has yet to clear from the general's body. Please remember not to practice excessively.
Fuzhou's face sank.
I am older now. I'm no longer 17 or 18, when no matter what I ate or how much I slept, I wouldn't gain weight. I don't want to move, but I want to get fat in my middle years even less.
That's him. Fuzhou seemed to be thinking of something. His lips curved into a smile. Oh my god. Oh my god, prepare for this.
Fucking, really? Adopted brother, would you like to see how I usually practice?
To be honest, he didn't really want to. But thinking of the help Fuzhou had extended to him, Lin Qingyu nodded anyway. Fuzhou's heroic manner was suddenly reaching for the clouds.
It's time for you to see my true strength. Let's go. I'll take you to the military drill grounds.
Torches were lit around the military drill grounds. However, it still wasn't as bright as it was during the daytime. Lin Qingyu asked,
Why doesn't the general practice during the day? It's too sunny during the day. Only fools would train then.
Lin Qingyu was puzzled. Were people who engaged in fighting all year round still afraid of the sun? Fuzhou walked to the stone padlock and said,
This stone lock should be about the same weight as you.
Lin Qingyu. Oh?
Oh. Please watch closely.
Fuzhou did some light stretches, squatting down and lifting the stone padlock with one hand. Lin Qingyu did him the honor of praising him. God,
The general is mighty. The general is mighty. Look, look!
Fucking hell. Gu Fuzhou took a deep breath and raised the stone lock above his head again. When he says stone lock, think of it like a barbell.
How about now? Amazing.
I want it to be as dry as possible.
Amazing.
Gu Fuzhou smiled and dropped the stone padlock down with a boom.
Is this general better than your deceased husband?
Really?
Compared to him, do you admire this general's figure more?
You're doing excellent, Your Majesty. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I love this. Is the general better than your deceased husband? What an asshole. I can't even. Oh.
Compared to him, do you admire this general's figure more?
Lin Qingyu's tone became somewhat lighter.
The general has his good points, but I prefer my deceased husband's type.
Gu Fuzhou's smile froze.
No. What's so good about a sick seedling like him?
Lin Qingyu lowered his eyes and said,
If the general has no other instructions, then this official shall withdraw.
Gu Fuzhou laughed again.
Hey, adopted brother, what are you doing? Why are you so angry? We won't talk about him anymore. How about I show you how I chop these bricks barehanded as an apology?
Lin Qingyu. That just... Really? Oh my god, he's all things ridiculous. That reminds me of... God, what does that remind me of? It reminds me of... Let me smash these... Watch me smash these bricks over my head or something like that. I can't remember. Honestly, it seems more like a line out of My Hero Academia. I can see about 10 different characters saying exactly that to their crush. Oh, is the music loud? That should be okay. Let me chop these bricks barehanded as an apology. Oh my god. He's so extra. And I love him for it. Like, he's so excited to be strong again. It's so cute. In this way, for half a month, Lin Qingyu went to the general's mansion to deliver medicine every day. He understood why his father said that Gu Fuzhou was a surprising person. But he felt that the word weird would be more appropriate to describe him. For the past few days, the Imperial Medical Office has welcomed a distinguished guest. A world-famous doctor from the southern border. Is he gonna be fishy? Doctors at the southern border were experts at the use of goo. No idea what this is. I remember this. And this genius doctor could be said to be the king of goo. This is gonna be fucking ridiculous the entire time. Let me see if I'm pronouncing it wrong, because I don't... Maybe goo is just the wrong way of saying it. Let me see. Let's ask Google Sensei. With luck. Translate this. How do you say it? No, it is goo. Okay. Let me just... So you can hear too.
Goo.
Goo. That is goo, right? Everyone's agreeing with this?
Goo.
Okay. Alright. So I actually looked it up as we were going through this because there's no capitalization or anything. It's apparently a type of poison, I think, is what came up in my searches. I think. Take that with an absolute teeny tiniest grain of salt, but I think that's what it is. this is going to be ridiculous because there's about 3 different types of goo in here. You've got Gu Fuzhou, you've got goo whenever Xiang Chang says like the royal version of we or I is he uses goo. And then this one. Okay. Rolling right along. Most of the people in the central continent regard the cultivation of goo as sorcery, but the truth of the matter was different from the stories. Drugs could be divided into medicine and poison, and likewise. Drugs could be divided into medicine and poison, and likewise, goo could also be divided into good and poisonous goo. Okay, so it is a poison. What the fuck was that? Oh, that spooked me. I thought I saw a dark shadow just go past my window. Whoa! It means therefore, hence, and etc. And huh. Therefore and hence. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Poisonous goo could harm people, and so good goo could save people. That sounds funny. Sorry. Father Lin knew the benefits, so he wrote to the genius doctor in the southern border many times, finally managing to invite him to the Imperial Medical Office to teach his goo technique to many of the students. Father Lin hoped that the students of the Imperial Medical Office would not only learn how to use goo to save people, but also learn how to detoxify poisonous goo. In my head, I'm thinking it like a chi thing, and it's just not. Like the physical form of chi. I don't know. Don't listen to me. I don't know. Bujidao. All the bujidas. Although Lin Qingyu has read medical books, his understanding of the goo technique was limited to the theoretical. This time, the genius doctor from the southern border was going to hold a class at the Imperial Medical Office. Naturally, he would not miss it. After this day's class, Lin Qingyu, medical books in hand, walked out of the classroom. He suddenly heard a whistle. Looking towards the sound, he saw Gu Fuzhou leaning against the... Jesus, did you really come to pick up your crush from school? Really? He fucking did. He's a teenager. Looking towards the sound, I can just see this in my head, he saw Gu Fuzhou leaning against the railing, waving at him with a smile, still followed by the guards of the Tenji camp. He's supposed to be some odd years old in this, and he's a teenager. He just came to pick up his... Not the crush, pick up from school. Because he's come to his girlfriend's school to pick them up, or technically his husband, but yeah, pick up his boyfriend from school. Oh my god, just give him a leather jacket and a wall to lean against with one leg up. Like that's, the image that... That's what he comes up as. Oh heavens. He is so... Oh, Sam, you missed it. The best one. I was dying. And no one was here and I was dying. He wanted... So Wancheng, when he was dying the first time, he wanted to teach everyone the song for the coffin dance meme. And have them sing it as they carried him out. I was in tears. Oh heavens. Oh, he's just that kind of troll. Oh, goodness. The coffin dance. You know the coffin dance one, where they're carrying it on their shoulders and they're dancing down. Oh, I can't even. Because both of his pet birds died, and as he's burying them, he's singing this as he's doing it. He goes, I'll teach it to you, and you can teach it to everyone else and have that. I was dying. Also, it's one of my favorite memes, so, I love that he's so up on it. Oh, heavens. Okay. Where was I? I love him so much. Okay. Still followed by the guards of the Tanji camp, Lin Qingyu hurriedly stepped forward and said,
"Has the general come to the Imperial Medical Office because there has been a flare-up of this sky spider poison?" "No. I went to the palace to report to the Crown Prince, and have happened to pass by the Imperial Medical Office. I just thought..."
Fuzhou gave an embarrassed smile. He raised his hand and scratched the corner of his eye.
"Well, I should drop by and pick you up after your class."
He's fucking really doing it. Lin Qingyu was startled. I can't even with him. I can't even. I wish my avatar had hands so I could throw my hands up. Like, really? How are not more people reading this? Because it's so freaking meme-worthy. Oh, I'm in tears. I gotta wipe my tears. Pick you up after your class. He really said that. Lin Qingyu was startled. Pick him up from class? He wasn't a child on his first day of school. Does he need for someone to come pick him up? And from the general's mansion to the Imperial Palace, how could he have possibly just passed by the Imperial Medical Office? Before Lin Qingyu could answer, he found his hands suddenly empty. Oh my god, he is doing the whole 9 yards. Fuzhou had taken the medical books he was holding. His movements were so natural, as though it was books and not a... as though it was books and not the Qingyun Jiujiu spear that he usually held. Lin Qingyu said,
"General, there is no need for you to bother." "It's all right. I'm stronger than you. The stronger should work harder."
Fuzhou casually flipped through his book.
"So, what did Imperial Physician Lin learn in school today?"
Lin Qingyu said,
"It can't be that the general is interested in medical studies."
Fuzhou smiled and said,
"No, but I'm interested in everything Imperial Physician Lin has to say."
"Hi, SoftSpoKenn! I hope you enjoy lurking. We're reading something absolutely ridiculous."
Southern border goo poisons. Goo? Goo is good. Great beauty should use goo.
Lin Qingyu paused in his steps. He looked at Fuzhou, a meaningful and probing look in his eyes. Fuzhou didn't notice at all, or maybe he noticed it but pretended not to.
Speaking of which...
I don't know if this music's right. Is the music too loud? I'll take it down, right?
Speaking of which, I've always wanted to light some incense sticks for your deceased husband. It is only right as your adopted brother.
Lin Qingyu withdrew his gaze.
The general can go to Nan'an Hou's mansion to pay his respects to young Master Hou. Forget going to the Nan'an Hou mansion,
Fuzhou said.
Why don't we go to your residence? My residence? You should have a tablet enshrined in your house.
Fuzhou paused, verifying uncertainly.
You do have it, yes?
Yes, he did. But that wasn't Wancheng's tablet. Fuzhou saw that Lin Qingyu's expression showed a hint of complexity that could not be understood by outsiders. His mood, too, became complicated. He teased.
Aren't you ashamed to say that you like this type better than... Aren't you ashamed to say that you like this type better when you didn't even set up a tablet for him? Actually, I can understand. It was a marriage bestowed by the Emperor and you. It was a marriage bestowed by the Emperor. And you, my adopted brother, don't really care much about my poor brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law? What kind of strange form of address is that? Reason told Lin Qingyu that he ought to ignore words like these that were meant to provoke. But somehow, when Gu Fuzhou spoke to him in this tone, he couldn't help but want to respond.
I do have one. Who knows whether that's true or not?
Gu Fuzhou raised the corner of his lips.
Then take me there and prove it to me.
Thinking of the words Jiang Jiang engraved on the tablet, Lin Qingyu said calmly,
It is not very convenient to do so.
Gu Fuzhou was puzzled.
Why would it be inconvenient?
All right, what is it? Is this? Wait, 48, 49, 50, 51. Oh, okay, we can do one more. I'm here for one more. I'm gonna get right into it because it's getting late and I started too late. Okay. Chapter 51.
I can have a bad mind.
Ever since Lin Qingyu had settled into his residence, he has never invited anyone in there, not even his family. Although Gu Fuzhou had been kind to the Lin family, there were too many things about him that were suspicious. He was also under the constant watch of that pair of Tianjin camp guards. No matter what he said or did, Xiao Qiang would know. Taking him to his residence at this time was definitely an unwise move. Lin Qingyu weighed the matter over and over. He said,
I am a widow. It has been less than half a year since my husband died of illness. If I were to rashly take the general to my residence, where I live alone, it will definitely attract criticism.
Gu Fuzhou rethought his suggestion and did not force the matter.
If that's the case, then let's go to the Nan'an Hou's mansion.
Weird, but okay. We're here for it. Lin Qingyu thought that Gu Fuzhou came on horseback. But surprisingly, like himself, the general had come in a carriage. The two arrived at the Nan'an Hou Mansion. After the servants informed the master of their arrival, although the Nan'an Hou Marquis did not come out of the mansion to greet them, like he had done for the Crown Prince, he still welcomed them in front of the main hall. It had been several months since they had last seen each other. The Nan'an Hou's complexion had indeed improved a lot. The contributions of the child in Pan Shi's belly truly cannot go unnoticed. Gu Fuzhou was a first-rank general, and he a first-rank noble. Upon meeting, they gave each other courtesy befitting an equal. Lin Qingyu stood quietly by the side, watching the two exchange superfluous nonsense. In front of the Nan'an Hou, Gu Fuzhou's expression was stern. His words were concise and to the point. Every movement was that of a capable warrior. He now resembled the famed reserve and grim god of war of the past. Gu Fuzhou had obviously been joking and teasing just now, saying things like how a beauty should practice Gu. Not long ago, he had even displayed his strength, chopping bricks barehanded. The idiot. This kind of skillful ease reminded him of a certain someone once again. Lin Qingyu so smart. Xie xia, the secret code. Gu Fuzhou's strange words and deeds, and his expressive show of goodwill. Excessive show of goodwill. Was it a coincidence? Him just being too suspicious? Or something else? When the Nan'an Hou learned that that Gu Fuzhou had come to pay homage to Wancheng, he didn't feel very gratified. Instead, he looked worriedly at the two guards behind him.
The general is very considerate. Steward, Lead the general to the ancestral hall. I must attend to court, so I won't accompany you.
Gu Fuzhou nodded lightly.
Master Hou, please don't let us keep you.
From beginning to end, Nan'an Hou regarded Lin Qingyu like empty space. Evidently, he was still brooding about the misfortune he had brought upon their house as a male wife. He had no wish to interact with him at all. Their group headed to the Lu family ancestral hall. Gu Fuzhou looked at Lu Wancheng's memorial tablet at the lowest level. The corners of his lips moved slightly, as though he wanted to laugh, but felt that he shouldn't. In the end, he simply sighed and said nothing. A servant lit 6 sticks of incense and handed them over. Lin Qingyu and Gu Fuzhou each held 3 sticks. Standing side by side in front of Lu Wancheng's memorial tablet, they bowed 3 times in unison. Gu Fuzhou inserted his incense sticks into the incense burner first. He then turned sideways to make way for Lin Qingyu. Lin Qingyu stepped forward and said softly,
"There are guards following the general wherever he goes. Is it not annoying having one's words and deeds all under the eyes of others?"
Gu Fuzhou seemed completely helpless.
It cannot be helped. The Crown Prince feels I have alternative motives behind my urgent return to the capital. Perhaps he feels I'm here to make contact with someone, and together we'll set something big. It's fine. Let them follow. At least it can dispel the Crown Prince's doubts and restore my innocence.
The general is being overly anxious, the guard said, a wooden expression on his face. The general was poisoned, and the poisoner has yet to be caught. His Highness sent us to accompany the general his protection. The guard had been standing behind them. Lin Qingyu was not at all surprised that they had clearly heard them, despite the fact that he had kept his voice extremely soft. It was said that every member of the Tianjin camp was capable and extraordinarily skilled. Gu Fuzhou smiled indifferently.
All right, if that's what the Crown Prince says.
Lin Qingyu's heart moved. He felt like Gu Fuzhou's words signified something.
The general wishes to clear the suspicions on himself. However, won't coming in such an overt manner to the Imperial Medical Office to find me bring the Crown Prince's suspicions on myself? He might think I'm the very contact you're supposed to meet.
Gu Fuzhou restrained the smile on his face.
I have no wish to implicate you either. However, are you not my adopted brother? Getting closer to you is but normal. An innocent person's innocence naturally shines through. There is no need for Imperial Physician Lin to worry too much.
An innocent person's innocence naturally shines through. The premise being that the innocent person was actually innocent. Or at least the innocent person should believe himself so. He must not have anything that others could use against him, leaving an opportunity that others might exploit. Lin Qingyu asked again.
What does the general mean? What the general means to say is that his anxiousness to return to the capital is only for the detoxification and nothing else? What nefarious thoughts could I possibly have? I simply wish to preserve my life and enjoy a few more years in happy, leisurely retirement. After all, no matter how daring I am, I wouldn't dare not to do anything to disturb the Emperor. That would be a capital offense. The Northwest is in turmoil. The country is Sorry. The Northwest is in turmoil. The country is divided, and the people in the frontier are struggling to survive. This general has already journeyed to the gates of hell once. When I returned, my head was filled with thoughts of living in ease and comfort. How could I be worthy of the trust of the court and the country's people? Others might not know it, but I know it very well in my heart.
Fuzhou laughed softly.
It is only through luck that I have been able to win my battles. 5 consecutive victories is all good and well, but sooner or later, I have no doubt I will be met with consecutive defeats. Neither the court nor populace should misplace their confidence in me. I no longer wish to be responsible for millions of lives. I truly am tired. The incompetent should quickly be made to take off one's armor and return to the land. Only in this way can I truly avoid letting the populace down.
Lin Qingyu disagreed. Fuzhou's incompetence is false. What was true was that he wanted to laze around. He really was, seeming more and more similar. After paying his respects to Wancheng, Fuzhou parted ways with Lin Qingyu. Fuzhou got into the carriage, and the groom asked him,
"Is the general going back to the mansion?"
The groom waited for a long time. When the general didn't respond, he was about to ask again when he heard a voice from inside the carriage.
"No, I still have someone I wish to meet."
Changing the music. And hydrating. What am I listening to? Oh. There. Sorry. Whew. Okay. With the coming of summer, not only did the emperor's condition not improve, rather it became increasingly grave. The imperial physicians were helpless. Even the recently returned Lin Yanpan could not provide a solution.
His Majesty's headache has been a perennial problem. For decades we have been able to treat the symptoms, but not the root cause. Ordinary prescriptions no longer have an effect on the Emperor's body. His condition has become even more serious from how long this illness has persisted.
The Empress stayed by the Emperor's bed, heart burning with anxiety. Is there really no way? Lin Yanpan said hesitantly.
This...
Xiao Cheng said,
If you have something to say, then say it. Today, a miracle-working doctor from the southern border had been invited to the capital to give lectures at the Imperial Medical Office. Among the things he mentioned was the use of goo to penetrate the brain in order to eradicate the root cause of headaches.
Absolutely not, the Queen said without even a moment's thought. Using goo upon the Emperor's person. Saying such a thing. Are you looking for death? Are you looking for death? The Imperial physicians knelt down and said,
asking Her Majesty to quell her anger.
Xiao Cheng looked down at the Lin Yanpan and said with a sneer,
It is true what they say. Like father, like son. The two Imperial physicians, Lin of the Imperial Hospital, are so courageous. Lin Yanpan has been following after Gu Fuzhou for so long, and has even accepted him as an adopted son. Is it possible that you've grown stupid and ignorant like some in the army? Do you know only how to look after General Gu and not the Son of Heaven?
Lin Yanpan broke out in a cold sweat.
This humble official dares not.
The Empress said sharply. Do not mention this matter again. Withdraw.
Wait a minute. I haven't finished speaking. What is the Empress Mother's hurry?
The corner of Xiao Cheng's lips ticked up.
Hear Gu's command. For your propensity for babbling nonsense, and for wanting to use the Gu technique of the southern border on the Emperor. Starting today, you will be downgraded to a 6th rank Limu.
A Limu of the Imperial Hospital was a clerical official responsible for the management of the medical books and materials. They have no real power and were not allowed to make patient visits. The Empress felt the punishment inappropriate. Lin Yanpan was the best physician in the Dayu. To disallow him to treat patients was a waste of his considerable talent. She opened her mouth to speak, but was stopped by Xiao Cheng with a raising of his hand.
For a mere imperial physician, Empress Mother need not spend so many words.
Lin Yanpan, kowtowed, and said,
Your servant kowtows in thanks to your Empress.
The Empress closed her eyes and endured. No matter how unwilling she was, she could only swallow the words back. The Emperor was unconscious from illness. At this time, the Crown Prince could naturally run unbridled, shutting the sky with one hand. Oh, Your Highness. Xu Yang walked in from outside. The leader of the Tianji camp requests an audience. Xiao Cheng said,
Let him wait in Qingjiang Hall.
There was a sadness in the Empress's heart. Whether it is the old eunuch beside the Emperor, or the Tianjin camp for the Emperor's eagle dogs, they are all looking forward to the prince. The prince is really not far from the throne. In the Qingjiang Hall, the leader of the Tianji camp gave a detailed report of Gu Fuzhou's movements to Xiao Cheng.
Today, General Gu left his residence for the first time since he returned to the capital. First, he went to the Imperial Medical Office, saying that he was there to pick up Imperial Physician Lin from school. The both of them then went to the Nan'an Hou's mansion to pay their respects to young Master Hou. The Nan'an Hou only said a few words to him, and before leaving in a hurry. Finally, General Gu went to the 4th Prince's mansion once again.
Xiao Jian. Okay. Xiao. Is this a new character? I'm gonna go with it. Could be a typo. I don't know. Xiao Jian narrowed his eyes.
Xiao Ji.
In the years during the battle for success, This is not. I'm gonna try sad. We'll try it. See if that works. In the years during the battle for succession, apart from him, who won a complete victory, only 2 princes managed to escape unscathed. One was the foolish son born of the... I think here, foolish, they mean as the old way of saying mental illness. I think it's either mental illness or autistic, something to do with the brain. One was the foolish son born to the queen, and the other one was the 4th prince, Xiaoji. Although Xiaoji was not a fool, he might as well be one. He was an attractive but useless dunce. His biological mother was born of humble origins. He himself was unable to earn his father, the emperor's, favor. He had been unfit even to join the battle for succession. Oh, poor kid. You're better off. Xiao Chang asked, "What did they talk about?" "They exchanged polite greetings. General Gu recounted lots of interesting battlefield stories, and the 4th prince listened with great interest. He invited the general to come back another time to eat roast sheep and have a drink." Could it be that Gu Fuzhou did everything possible to return to Beijing because of Xiao Zhi? No, Gu Fuzhou knew that someone was watching, so what they saw on the surface was just what Gu Fuzhou wanted them to see. So, was Gu Fuzhou trying to purposefully muddy the waters to hide his true intentions? "Continue to watch him," Xiao Chang said. I guess. Meh. "Report immediately if he does anything unusual." News regarding Father Lin reached the Imperial Hospital, and Lin Qingyu immediately... Start that again. News regarding Father Lin reached the Imperial Hospital, and Lin Qingyu immediately took leave to return to the Lin residence. He thought that his father would be unhappy after being reprimanded. He didn't expect for his father to be calm. He even laughed as he told Mother Lin that he would now be able to go home on time every day. Lin Qingyu was helpless. How can father laugh at this? Father Lin found joy in the bitterness. It's nothing more than going from 5th rank to the idle position of the 6th rank. It's nothing. Speaking of which, before returning to the capital, the general had already reminded me to be careful of the crown prince. I was carelessness in my eagerness to help the emperor. Lin Qingyu was slightly surprised. The general told you to be careful of the crown prince? Yes. He said he was eager to return to the capital, and because of it, he had no choice but to rouse a lot of suspicions. The crown prince would surely be wary of the people around the general. I didn't expect I would be demoted because of this. Qingyu, you and I have both seen the effectiveness of the southern border Gu medicines. It can cure the illness of common people, but not of the Son of Heaven. It is a pity, truly regrettable. Lin Qingyu wasn't in any state of mind to be thinking about the southern border Gu poisons. He replayed Gu Fuzhou's words over and over again, and seemed to catch hold of something. Like seeing a flower through the fog, from start to finish, he could not see it clearly. There were 2 possibilities as to why Jiang wouldn't come to make himself known. He was physically far away, or he had no choice but to conceal his identity. Was there another possibility?
Well, now is not a good time. I don't want...
What is this? Okay, I'm gonna go with it. I don't know.
Well, now is not a good time. I don't want to involve you either.
Lin Qingyu pondered for a long time and asked,
Father.
God damn. Bastards. Play. Okay.
Father, you said that the message, if odd, change, if even, remain the same, came from the Xie secret letter that General Gu intercepted. Besides General Gu, has anyone seen that secret letter with their own eyes?
Father Lin didn't know why his eldest son was asking such a question. He said,
Given its secret nature, the general naturally wouldn't show it to others. So, not even General Zhao has seen it?
Father Lin said,
I don't know about that.
Lin Qingyu's eyes moved slightly. Perhaps he had made a mistake in the beginning. The source of the secret letter was not in Xie, but in Yang Liang. Hydrate. Within one chapter. You figured it out. To be fair, Lu Wancheng was, again, as subtle as a sledgehammer, and we love him for it. The next day, Lin Qingyu went to the general's mansion to deliver medicine as usual. As soon as he got out of the carriage, Yuan Yin greeted him and said,
Imperial Physician Lin, the general is not at the mansion today.
Lin Qingyu asked,
Then where is he? The general is at the fourth prince's mansion,
Yuan Yin said with a smile.
If Imperial Physician Lin would give the medicine to me, I will send someone to the general.
Lin Qingyu thought for a while and said,
No need. I will simply head there myself.
Yeah, go get your man. And slap him for taking so long. There were rules in the palace. Save for the crown prince, all adult princes were not allowed to reside in the palace. In the future, when the crown prince ascends the throne, these princes may be conferred with the title of king and moved to fiefdom. And this fourth prince had just turned 18 this year. Lin Qingyu got out of the carriage and saw dozens of horses stopped in front of the fourth prince's mansion. We're going funny for this. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. I'm putting these all together. Really. There. I can go there too. Okay. These horses were all majestic. They looked to be war horses from the military camp. It seemed that Gu Fuzhou was not the only military officer who came to the fourth prince's residence today. Lin Qingyu explained his intention, and the servant entered the residence on his blah 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 blah. Try again. Whew. Lin Qingyu explained his intention, and the servant entered the residence to pass on the message. Not long after, a handsome man with a gentle and reserved appearance walked out. Judging from his clothes, he should be the steward of the mansion. Fuck, not another one.
Greetings to Imperial Physician Lin,
the steward said.
Please come with me.
Lin Qingyu followed the steward all the way to the back garden, where even from a distance he could already smell the aroma of wine and meat. He saw a bonfire in the garden, and a large sheep was roasting over it. There were dozens of people around the fire. Most were dressed in armor and uniform, with drink in one hand and meat in the other. Jesus. Vikings. Only 2 people could be regarded as refined. One was a young man dressed in brocade. The young man was born with rosy lips and white teeth, cute and quick-witted. Although he was also tearing mutton in his hand, his movements were not too rough. This person must be the 4th prince of Xiaojie. The 4th prince, Xiaojie. Now, it said he was quick-witted, but the other one said that he was a moron. Did I say he was moron or fool? Something like that. Another refined man was Gu Fuzhou. Sitting among the crowd, his straight brows were stern, his silhouette robust, giving off a chilly aura. When he saw Lin Qingyu, the chill dissipated and he raised his cup to him with a smile. The steward announced, "Your Highness, General, Imperial Physician Lin is here." I'm going to make him cute. I heard that there was a beautiful Imperial Physician in the Imperial Hospital. I suppose that must be you. Xiaoji blushed. You really are a beauty. A military official said carelessly, Why, he's even more beautiful than the previous #1 beauty, Princess Jingqian. Old Wu, you've had too much to drink. How can a man compare to a woman? Gu Fuzhou said, Imperial Physician Lin is here to deliver medicine to me. Come here. Lin Qingyu asked, Could it be that the general has drank wine? No. Gu Fuzhou took the initiative to present the wine cup to Lin Qingyu for him to inspect. I've been drinking tea instead of wine. Lin Qingyu looked behind Gu Fuzhou. The guards of the Tanji camp were still there, but their faces were extremely ugly. They could even be described as shamed and humiliated. Soon, Lin Qingyu knew the reason. General Gu has finally made it back to the capital, and yet there are people following you wherever you go. The general has a good temper. Were it me, I would have lost my temper long ago. What is this? House arrest? Gu Fuzhou said, My request to return was all too sudden. It is not normal that... It is only normal that the Crown Prince has his suspicions about me. Suspicions need to be backed up by evidence. It's been more than half a month and we've not seen a single hair of evidence. Why is the Crown Prince sending people to watch the general? The Crown Prince... I don't know. The Crown Prince has always been close to those overly pedantic civil court officials and guarded against our military. Has he forgotten who fought? Has he forgotten who fought for and defended the river and mountains of the Deu? Gu Fuzhou's expression changed. General Wu, watch your words. What I dare say right here, right now, I dare say tomorrow in the morning court. General Gu has fought for 16 years and has made countless military contributions. Why should he suffer such humiliation? This is too oppressive. I can't stand it. Me too. Tomorrow I shall advise him together. The Crown Prince cannot treat the general like this. That's right. That's right! At the very least, have the Crown Prince watch over all of us dozens of brothers. We shall be...
We shall see who will be willing to work themselves to the bone for him in the future. Aye, aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Don't get too excited. Xiao Ji was caught in the middle. He seemed to be at a loss. Gu Fuzhou's expression was solemn.
Today, His Highness the Fourth Prince organized this feat just for the sake of us brothers. If you persist in making such rebellious remarks, we might as well disperse. Fucking damn it!
I hurted myself there.
Fucking damn it!
The general, surname Wu, threw his cup to the ground and said in a fury, "Fuck, I can't do anymore."
I, Third Brother Wu, refuse to accept this. I'm going to the palace right now.
I apologize for the shitty voice. Gu Fuzhou shook his head and sighed.
All of you are uncontrollable.
After speaking, no matter how excited the military officers became, he said nothing more. Lin Qingyu sat beside him, watched him drink his medicine. He said,
When the crown prince is put under pressure, he will have to clear the general of all suspicion. He will withdraw the Tenji camp guards. At that time, the general can then speak freely and do whatever he wants.
Gu Fuzhou made a face as though he just had a sudden realization. He said with a low laugh,
It seems so. I didn't even think about that. Imperial Physician Lin is so smart.
Lin Qingyu's heart moved. He lowered his eyes and smiled as well.
Not quite as smart as the general.
Oh, he figured it out. He figured it out. Okay. There's the 3 little red dots mean that we're stopping here. Aw, that was good. So, my lurkers, my watchers, what did you think? Oh, jeez, that's really loud. I'm quite pleased with that. Yeah, I love that he figured it out. That was funny. It is funny, and I loves them for it. I'm wondering there if when his eyes widened, it said that his eyes widened, I'm wondering if he figured out that Lin Qingyu figured it out. I'm not sure. I kind of want to say yes, but I don't know that. What you can understand. Ah. What are your thoughts? Tell me your feelings. Your feelings. Feelings, you know? Yeah, so that's what it seems like to me. I could be way off, but I like the thought of it. Although, I think I like the thought of Lin Qingyu springing it on him, like completely out of the blue more. Like just like have him on the line, like keep him going. So like no matter how obvious the clue General Gu leaves that he is his husband, like that Lin Qingyu pretends not to see it and just starts kind of driving him nuts. I think that would be absolutely hilarious. And just see how long they can keep it going. Because I think he was, at one point, I think he was mad that Lin Qingyu took so long. Alright, we finished that on chapter 51. Okay, and I'm just making those. Alrighty, so thank you so much, everyone, and Sam, hi, and all my lurkers, thank you so much, everyone, for watching and hanging out with me. I really do awesomely appreciate it. Thank you so much to my 2 raids tonight. That was awesome. Gotta go, friend. GG's fans. I don't know what GG is. Good game? Good game? I'm not a millennial. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. I would do a raid. if I knew how. Thanks, Sam. I do appreciate it. Thank you. I do appreciate it. It is a good game. Okay, good. Because the last time I did a raid, it did not go well. And I got kicked out on my own. And then a whole bunch of people left me. So I'm going to not. And it's 10:30 now. So actually, it's so funny. I started a half hour earlier or later. And I ended a half hour later. So Mondays, we're going to stick to 7 p.m. Even though I know it's a tough time for people to get here. But Wednesdays, we'll move back to the 8 o'clock slot. Thanks for accompanying me while I edit this essay. How does that work? How are you able to, like, I could understand doing, like, well, math or science or something. But editing an essay, which is words, while listening to reading words, that would get me so kerfuffled. I wouldn't be able to keep them straight. Alrighty, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. This has been so much fun, and I will be here, as I said, this Wednesday at 8. We'll do it a little bit later, and so we'll pick up, make it a little bit more easier for people. But yeah, so that's it. That's all. Again, thank you, and I will outro us out, I suppose. Thank you again. Have an awesome night and have a wonderful rest of the week if I don't see you. Good night, everyone. I listen to your voice more than the words themselves, so like I have no idea what's going on with the story. Awesome. Oh yes, the spam love. The spam love. And does it not show up on here? Ah! Just a sec. Wait. What is it? I'm gonna fix it. Just wait. It's this, and then this, and then this, and then okay. Okay, try it now. Yes. I got it. That was quick. That was a good one. I think this is how I'll do it. Okay. And I'll do it too. I'll do one too. There we go. We'll spam the love. Oh, look at all the lanterns. Wonderful. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm going to put it in front of these, I think. Yeah. Okay. All right. Awesomeness. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, see you Wednesday. I'm always on Discord. Awesome. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And good night, everyone. And I love you. And thank you so much. And we'll see you again next time. Okay, bye. Oh, it's too loud. There you go. Sorry about your eardrums. Good night, everyone. I hope you have an absolutely awesome, wonderful week. Good night.